it's Justine. I'm back, which is cool. This is my February wrap-up. As you can see, I changed the background because it was kind of boring, I think. So now we're in my room, and since light's like streaming in through my window, so I created like a barrier of stuffed animals to block it. And yeah, so here's my February wrap-up. I'm gonna try like a different order this time. My January wrap-up was like in chronological order, and I think that's what most people do. But I feel like you'd care more about which books I liked the best, so I'm gonna like do them in the order of worst to best, cause yeah, please comment and tell me if that's like not good or if it is good and you liked it, because I'd appreciate that. And also tell me if this weird tower of stuffed animals doesn't look very good, because I'll understand. Also, I'm like in a kind of uncomfortable position right now. I'm like squatting on a beanbag. It's not super cute, but yeah, commence. So I read like an abnormally large amount of books this month. I know that it seems like I read 7 in January too, but I didn't actually. I only read 3 books in January. You probably shouldn't expect that much from me like next month. I mean, maybe 4 is like my average, so yeah, don't get your expectations too high. I probably won't be reading 7 books every month. So the worst book I read this month, or the 7th best if you want to be optimistic, is Emergency Contact by Mary H.K. Choi. I was very excited for this because, look, there's an Asian on the cover. The main character is Asian. Penny Lee, she's Korean, I think. So yeah, I was very excited for this book. It follows Penny going to college, and she meets Sam, who works at a cafe nearby, and Sam has like issues. I don't know, he got some baggage. One day she finds Sam like having an actual panic attack like under a tree, and they exchange numbers because they're gonna be each other's like emergency contact. And it's sweet. They like text each other, and they fall in love, which is great, you know? Sounds awesome. But it kind of wasn't, and I rated it 2 out of 5 stars. I am planning on making a separate video explaining why I did not like Penny. But besides just Penny, there were some issues with the book. I have a singular tab in this book to point out this very random line by Penny when they're talking about how Sam might be like depressed, and Penny says, "If that were true, depression suited Sam." It was a choice. It was a choice. Yeah, I don't think that should have been in there. It doesn't come off very well, because depression's a not good thing and probably shouldn't suit Sam. If you want to know more, I do recommend that you watch Paperback Dreams' rant review on Emergency Contact, because I think she did a really good job and she pointed out the exact same line, and I watched her review after reading the book, and we like put post-it notes in the same line, and I thought that was kind of interesting that we both found it to be a little bit problematic. But my main criticism with this book lies in Penny. She just wasn't very great, and I am planning on making a separate video on comparing Penny to another character in a book I read this month. It'll be shorter because I should be making shorter videos. So the second worst book I read this month, or the 6th best, was Pride by Evie Zaboy, and this is a Pride and Prejudice remixed. I do feel like I should explain that I have not read Pride and Prejudice, which is stupid because I read a lot of romance. Like, I should have read it a while ago, but I just didn't, so sorry. Pride follows our main character Zuri. I think it's pronounced Zuri, maybe. I'm just gonna call her Zuri. I'm sorry if I pronounced it wrong. So Zuri is this black girl living in a predominantly black neighborhood in New York, and she's very proud of like her culture, her neighborhood, her hood, I guess. and this very wealthy black family moves in like right next door, and they have two like hot sons, I guess. They got two hot sons, Ainsley and Darius, and Zuri's sister like immediately falls for Ainsley, but Zuri doesn't really like Darius because she thinks he's like very arrogant and stuff. But yeah, it basically follows their romance. I think it's probably just like Pride and Prejudice if you've read that. I rated this book a 3 out of 5 stars. It wasn't because I had a problem with any of the characters. I actually really liked Zuri. I thought she was well written, and I kind of relate to her a little. Darius was also decent. I thought he was also well written. I liked all the characters. But I feel like the entire book I was like waiting for something. Like I was waiting for the beat drop, you could say. Like when they, not like you don't need to state the main idea of a book, but I mean, I was waiting for them to like say something about it, because the whole book kind of centers around that Zuri thinks that doesn't really like Darius, mainly because he's like rich and he acts different. I thought they were going to say something about class differences, but the most they really said was some people are different, but you can still date them. And I wasn't very satisfied with it. I thought they were going to say something else. I know it's kind of stupid. I don't even know what they would say about it, but maybe like something about why Darius is wealthier and why he acts like that. But yeah, I thought they were going to say something more like profound, more deep. But I feel like Zuri's attitude towards Darius too kind of reminded me of this very specific fan fiction I read a while ago. I don't know if this is too weird. This is kind of off topic too, but it was a Wesper fan fiction. So Jesper and Wylan from Six of Crows, and it's kind of like where Jesper thinks that Wylan's like homophobic and disgusted by him, and Wylan's just kind of like socially awkward. And I liked it in the fan fiction, but in a published book, it's a little bit weird because she's just kind of sitting there like, ugh, why isn't he dancing? I did feel like Zuri was a little bit judgmental, but they do kind of cover that in the book, so I guess we're good. So yeah, that was the main reason that I rated it 3 out of 5. I still really enjoyed reading it, and I did like Zuri a lot. So, the third worst book I read this month, or if you're optimistic, the 5th best book I read this month, is In Her Skin by Kim Savage. I was actually recommended this book by the school librarian, because I have like a library at my school, and she works there, and she was like talking to me about it, and she was like, wow, since you enjoyed My Lovely Wife, which I did, you might like In Her Skin. And so yeah, I read it. In Her Skin follows this 13-year-old girl, I think she's 13, named Jo Chastain, and she's like a homeless con artist, and which I found interesting. And her mom died, so she sees this article in like the newspaper where like the daughter of these rich people went missing a while ago, like when she was pretty young, and then her parents died in a plane crash, and now this rich family who's friends with the other rich family is still looking for like this missing daughter. So Jo, because she wants a family and she also wants to be rich, she goes to like the police station pretending that she's Vivian, who's the girl who went missing. So she gets like adopted into this rich family with like they have a daughter named Temple, and she's like friends with Temple. And at first it's a good time, but then things start getting like kind of sketchy, creepy things start happening. She's trying to decide whether or not she should stay and like risk being revealed. And it is like a little gory, but not really. Like, not really. I rated this book 3 out of 5 stars because I did, even though I really, really liked the concept, I feel like it could have been executed a little bit better. I didn't really care about Jo. I feel like she didn't have much of a personality. She does have like this kind of lesbian, a bit of like a messed up relationship with the daughter of the rich family that she's like adopted into. So that's a thing, but that's not why I read it. I didn't even know it was in there. And the like big reveal, I feel like the reason like it's kind of rated so low is because the big reveal was not very shocking to me. I kind of suspected it for a while, and then they revealed it, and it was supposed to be like, ooh, you're shook that was so gory, but it kind of wasn't. Like, that's just kind of what I thought I was supposed to be thinking. So yeah, besides that, I really did enjoy reading it. I thought it was kind of like, it was kind of creepy, I guess. And I did really, really like the concept of somebody pretending to be like a missing person and like being adopted into a family who they don't know. So yeah, that's In Her Skin. The fourth worst book I read this month, or the fourth best, was Bonds of Brass by Emily Skrutsky. Skrutsky? Yeah. So first of all, this book is kind of like shaped funny. It's kind of big. Like, this is normal book size. It's like kind of thick. Not like thick that way, but it's like thick that way. Okay. But, Bonds of Brass, the reason I got this was just because it was kind of popular, but once I like had it in my hands, I realized that, is this not Finn and Poe from Star Wars? It's literally Finn and Poe from Star Wars. Finn in this case is called Etienne, and Etienne is like, this does take place in space, hence the like little spaceship here. But Etienne and Gal are in like a space academy, and they're learning how to like fly ships or something. They're like, it's kind of like a military academy, yeah. But Etienne, there's like a lot of backstory to this, so it might be kind of hard to explain. But basically, Etienne is from the Archon Empire. The Umber Empire kind of invaded the Archon Empire, and then genocide is kind of implied. But Etienne's like a survivor, I guess. He's still alive, and it's revealed that Gal, or Poe in this case, who is Etienne's roommate and possible love interest, is the heir to the Umber Empire throne. Since I gotta my beanbag is deflating, and since Gal's family like kind of committed genocide, a lot of people are trying to kill him, but Etienne is like, hey, instead of doing that, I'm just gonna take Gal back to his family so that he can like rule the Umber Empire and make them better or something, even though the Umber Empire like killed the entirety of Etienne's family. I guess he's fine with it. So basically it just follows Etienne taking Gal like to wherever they're going. It's kind of like an adventure thing. It does remind me a lot of Star Wars. There's even like a trio, 2 guys and a girl, like Han, Luke, Leia, what I thought was the trio in the prequels. Anakin, Obi-Wan, Padme. Probably not. That's what I always think in trios, so maybe I'm wrong. It is kind of Star Wars-y, so if you like Star Wars, you'll probably like it. And also has LGBTQ representation, because Gal and Etienne are kind of like a thing. I thought it was really fun. I couldn't like put it down. I read it in like almost 1 sitting, in like 2 sittings. So I was deciding whether to rate this book 3 stars or 4 stars, because if I rated it purely on like my enjoyment, it'd be 4 stars. But there were a lot of like, not like problematic, I guess, but there were some issues I found with it. So then maybe it'd be 3 stars. I don't know, on Goodreads, I think I did 4 stars, so we'll just go with 4 stars. So I rated this 4 out of 5 stars. It was just because I really, really liked reading it. It was really fun. I liked Gal and Etienne. I thought they were really cute. There were some parts where I like audibly went, "Aw," because they were really cute. And the characters were decent. It was good. Like, the plot, I also thought the plot was just like really angsty. And also, it does end in a cliffhanger because it is a trilogy. The second book is coming out at some point. The ending really got me, even though the ending was kind of based on like unreliable narrator, which I don't really like that much because I do feel like it's a bit of a cop-out, but it was still really shocking, and I was shook. I was like, I can't wait for the second book because it's going to be set in Gal's point of view, and also the cliffhanger they leave you on, like, I don't even know. I really need the second book. So, yeah, but some issues I had with it. The main thing that I noticed was, and this might seem pretty small, but it's kind of not. Instead of using the F word, they use rut. So, yeah, that's a thing. And you wouldn't feel like it's that big of a deal, except for every other cuss word they say. Like, they say the S word. I don't know if I'm allowed to cuss. I probably already did. They say the S word, they say the D word, they say every other word except for the F word, in which they replace with rut. And it wouldn't be that important, except for they use the word rut like 3 times a page. Let me read you this one, like, sentence that I found very awkward to read. He says, okay. Etienne says, if I rut this up, I'm blaming you, and don't you dare make me rut this up. And not only that, but they named their ship that they, like, fly together the Rotten Hell. Rotten Hell. Like F word hell, but it's Rotten Hell. And they say the name of the ship a lot, so they use rut a lot, and it just really annoys me because it's kind of cringy. Like, when, like, reading that out loud, that made me, like, cringe a little. I was like, that's written really, like, it's just uncomfortable to read a word that's supposed to be the F word, but it's not. And I like to think that the author originally just had dropped like 3 F-bombs per page, and her editor was like, hey, can you replace this with something? So she replaced them all with rut, but that's probably not it, and she just willingly went in with rut, and I'm not loving it. Yeah, and it's not only rut, like, it is rut, but also there is a character, the girl in the trio, in this case, like the Leia, Wen, and I do like her character. I feel like she is kind of sweet, and I do like the friendship that Etienne and her have, but also I find it weird that Etienne was so, like, willing to be friends with her when she's basically introduced by trying to, by voluntarily putting Etienne and Gal in danger, and I feel like it is kind of weird that they overlook that, especially when Etienne's, like, entire character hinges on Gal. So, I don't know. This book, I think, is labeled, like, adult, but it is definitely not adult. This is YA as heck. Like, it's very YA. But, yeah, I'm really looking forward to the sequel. It was very fun to read, but I just couldn't stand all the ruts. It made me upset. It wasn't very upsetting in the beginning, but by the halfway mark, I was like, if I read another person saying rut, I'm gonna rut myself. So, the 5th worst book I read in this month, or the 3rd best book I read this month, was The Library of the Unwritten by A.J. Hackwith. So, it follows Claire, who is the librarian of the Library of the Unwritten, which is a library in hell, where all the, like, books that haven't been finished go, and, the plot kind of starts when Claire and her assistant, her assistant Brevity, sorry, that was Beverly, and her assistant Brevity and this, like, little demon Lido need to go on, like, a mission to capture back this escaped character, because the character is trying to go see his author so he can convince her to, like, keep writing his book, and he just goes by Hero, and, but then there's, like, a bigger plot where the Devil's Bible is missing, and the angels think that Claire has it, but she doesn't, and they're, like, running around doing stuff. It's like an adventure thing, but also it is a little confusing. I rated this a 4 out of 5 stars. I really, really liked the relationship between Lido and Claire, because it was, like, a mother and son relationship, and then there's a plot twist at the end that I, like, gasped, but also I was very happy about it. And I liked all the characters. I thought they were all pretty good. The reason I have to But the reason this can't be 5 stars is because there are like multiple plot twists in this, but there is a character who double crosses them, and it's kind of obvious which one it is. Like, it, yeah, it just, the plot twist wasn't amazing. I mean, one of the plot twists is amazing, and like the other one wasn't as good. So yeah, that's why this is 4 out of 5 stars. And another reason besides the plot twist kind of falling flat for me was the writing was kind of confusing. Like, it is kind of a confusing plot, but I didn't really know what we were doing half the time. I was just like enjoying the ride. It didn't really matter because I still really liked it. Yeah, it was good. Read it maybe? The 6th worst book I read this month, or the 2nd best book, was Instant Karma by Marissa Mayer. I'm gonna go by Mayer because I feel like the E, it sounds right, Mayer. I've read a few other books by Marissa Mayer. I didn't actually notice that this was written by her until like I already checked it out from the library. But I read the Lunar Chronicles in 7th grade, and I really, really, really liked it. I haven't like reread them since, so I don't know, maybe they've aged badly, but I really liked them in 7th grade. And I also read the Renegade series like last year. It was pretty good. It was decent. But yeah, Instant Karma, whoa, I really like this book. Instant Karma follows Prudence, the main character. I actually have a picture of her here. By the way, the cover, I thought they were like Latin American or something because they're like kind of tannish, but turns out they're just white people. Like, I'm not disappointed, but I feel like I've been fooled. But anyway, so it follows Prudence, and she's like very school oriented. She's very hardworking. And one of her school projects, she gets a bad grade on it, and she kind of blames it on her partner, Quint. And her teacher gives her an opportunity to redo it over the summer, but she needs to convince Quint to do it with her, and he doesn't really want to. Then they make an agreement that if she works at Quint's family's like marine life rescue center for a few weeks, then he'll redo the project with her, and it kind of goes from there. But also, the reason it's called Instant Karma, which is a Beatles song, is because she's like singing karaoke at some point, and she like falls and hits her head, and when she like comes out, she wasn't in a coma, she like passed out for a second or something, but when she like wakes up, she has the power to like deliver instant karma. Like, if she sees someone doing something bad, then she like snaps her fingers or something, and they get instant karma. Like, for example, she sees this guy like littering on the beach, and she like snaps her fingers, and a toddler walks over to him and vomits on his shoe, which is disgusting, but I don't know. I thought it was a very interesting concept. I rated this book 4 out of 5 stars, but it is very close to 5 stars. And the reason I liked it so much was mainly because Prudence, I loved Prudence. Her character development was so good. At first, I thought she was really annoying, like when Quint was like giving her a tour around like the Marine Life Center, and she thought like scaling the fish was really gross. But then like later on, I just really, really loved her. She was just so good. I love that she had an interest in business, and I liked the way she talked. She was just like genuinely very smart. And yeah, I loved Prudence. Quint was also pretty good too. I loved him too. And oh, one detail that I really, really love is that Prudence's name is from the Beatles song Dear Prudence, and she has a twin sister named Jude, who's from Hey Jude, and they have like 3 other siblings, and they're all named after like Beatles songs, and I thought it was just so good. And also it gives you something to like listen to while you're reading, if you like to listen to music while you're reading. I don't really, but I don't mind it. So yeah, I really, really loved it. I liked how there was like an emphasis on like environment, and the side characters were very good. I liked Jude a lot. I thought he was fun. I liked Jude, and also Morgan, who is this other side character. There are like a good amount of side characters, like maybe too much, maybe, but I mean, it's fine. They're all pretty good. Also, the interactions between Prudence and Quint were genuinely like so cute. Like, I audibly went aw. Like, when they went snorkeling together, that was so cute. And then at the end, something happens that I don't want to spoil, but Oh my god, I was like about to cry with just how wholesome it was. So yeah, I really like this book. I'd probably read it again, but the reason I can't give it 5 out of 5 is because the instant karma, like, superpower that she has, it's kind of just thrown in there in my opinion. Like, it's kind of like Marissa Mayer was like, I can't just write a romance, there needs to be like another plot line, and that's the instant karma thing. And I mean, it was interesting in the beginning, but then there were parts where I feel like the author and me forgot that she had this thing, and then she'd just be like hanging out with Quint, and then like later on she'd do something with it, and like, oh, that's a thing that exists. And I feel like it wasn't really needed, but I mean, it was still fun. So the best, the so the best book I read this month, or the 7th worst, was The Extraordinaries. The Extraordinaries by Extraordinaries by T.J. Klune. So it follows our main character Nick, who has ADHD, and it's kind of like a world where like superheroes exist, I guess, and he has like a huge crush on one of them, Shadowstar, and he writes like fan fiction for him and stuff with like a self-insert version of him named Nate, which I think is just so funny. It's actually how the book starts out. Basically, to like win the affections of Shadowstar, he wants to become a superhero too. He does like a lot of experiments with like his friends to get himself superpowers. Like there was this one time, I think they had like a grasshopper or something, and they were gonna put it in the microwave to make it radioactive and then make it bite him, so you could be like Grasshopper Man, and you could like hop a lot or something. I don't know, I just thought it was very funny. The entire book was just so fun. Like, I don't know, I read it in one sitting. Like, I read it, like, in one night. I don't even know how long I stayed up to read this book. It was just so good. I could not put it down. Oh my god, I loved every single character. I really loved Nick. I liked his internal, like, dialogue. I thought it was so good. And also, I think they do kind of act like teenagers. I feel like a lot of books, like, make their teenage characters act, like, not like teenagers. But this one did it, I guess. I liked how his relationship with his dad, because his mom's dead, obviously, because, I mean, you can't have both parents, or else what kind of story is that? JK, they were both parents in Instant Karma. And also, there is a romance with, well, I don't know if I should say with who, but I feel like it's pretty obvious. And that was really cute, too. I don't know. It was just adorable. It was so fun. I loved reading it. I loved it so much. I'm going to reread it soon. Maybe not soon. I don't know. I'll reread it at some point. For a while before this video, I sat there like thinking about something I could say about the Extraordinaries, that like, oh, it was amazing except for this. There's actually nothing. I can't think of a single thing. It's perfect. It's flawless. It's like, it's actually flawless. It's crazy. What? So that was all the books I read in February. I'm sorry if this video was kind of long. I will be making a shorter one, maybe in a week or so, like comparing Penny from Emergency Contact and Prue from Instant Karma, because I thought they were actually very similar, but also so different. So yeah, it'll probably be short for y'all wanting short videos, so be sure to look out for that one. Subscribe if you want. It's your choice. I won't make you. And like this video also if you want. It's your choice. Thank you so much for watching. And please comment below, like, things that you think I could improve on. Maybe if my background is not great, maybe if my lighting's kind of bad. I'd understand. There's like a lamp behind this that's like all my lighting. I'm very backlit. If these stuffed animals weren't here, I'd look like crap. But, yeah. Thanks so much for watching. I really appreciate it.